The purpose of a home study is to assess if a family is a safe and acceptable home suitable for a child. So a home study for an embryo adoption is pretty much the same home study that we would do for an adoptive or foster home. Well, a lot of times when families come to us, they are very intimidated. They're scared. They think we're coming to their home, and if we find a tiny speck of dust on their coffee table, that we're going to be like, no, that's not going to work. And that's not the case.
I remember being incredibly nervous before and thinking I need to put my best foot forward, make sure that our house looks good, make a plate of cookies before, make it look like we were really homey. And it was not that big of a deal at all. It was so much less stressful than I thought it was gonna be. I was so nervous.
Nothing like in the TV shows where like the person comes in with a white glove and is looking for dust. It was nothing like that. She genuinely just wanted to talk to us. And
just wanted to get to know who we were and make sure that we were good, kind people. And that was it. That was it.
Someone going through a home study should be prepared to talk about themselves, talk about who they are. It seems scary at first, but we try to assure people that we're just trying to get to know who you are. We ask you about your personality, your hobbies, your interests, and we also ask about your home life. We ask about your family. We ask about your history from birth till now. So some of the questions are very basic, and then there are some hard questions. We do ask, have you experienced any difficult things in your life, any traumas? Have you been through abuse or neglect yourself? And we talk through those things.
I felt like this is an adoption for us. We are taking responsibility for this baby, and this is a huge gift. And there are families out there that are taking a huge leap right now and giving us this gift. And we want to be an open book for them. If they have questions about who their embryos are going to, they can ask anything they want to know. And so we felt like it validated even more of that feeling, and that we were just putting ourselves out there for these people to know more about.
So a lot of people want to know how many times, how many interviews or visits that they have to do for a home study. So at Bethany, we require families to do several different interviews. So we will do one interview with the couple together, and we talk about their marriage, we talk about if there are other children in their home, if they've struggled with any issues with infertility, which is a very common part of this, that we'll talk them through that. And then each separately will do their own individual interviews, which is done separately. And that's where we ask more of the personal questions about their own childhoods and their history and employment history. We talk about lots of different things. And then their final interview typically is the one we do in the actual home. And that's the one that most people assume is what we do. We do check all the rooms, we check closets. We're not looking under the beds and like intensively looking, but we do just want to make sure that, you know, everything looks pretty safe. You do not have to have every outlet cover covered. You do not have to have baby gates at every single entrance to your doors. That is not a huge requirement. You need to definitely have a plan for preparing for a newborn, for a child. But we're just checking to make sure your home is not on hoarders. Typically, we'll ask families to do some basic adoption training, either reading a book, doing an online webinar. The NEDC also has their own requirements that are very specifically geared towards embryo adoption, because that is a very small niche of adoption, a very important one, but also something that families need a very special education on to understand. How do we speak about this? You know, what do we say to our friends and family? What do we need to prepare for? Do we want an open or a closed donor relationship? So those are all things that will be part of their training they will do with the NEDC specifically that they may not do with their home study agency.